Hello and welcome back to another Astro vlog. Tonight I'm looking to shoot some images of the Milky Way and the galactic core right over the tree here, along with the stone wall in the foreground which I'll light paint. So let's get cracking. For tonight's shoot, I've got the camera as low to the ground as possible, as there's a road about 80 to 100 metres away, so any cars passing I'll either see the front or rear lights. So I've got the camera as low to the ground as possible to try and eliminate that. I'll be looking right up into the sky, and with this shoot I'll be doing a 20mm. I might do 35 as well, but for starters I'll do a 20mm upright, and then I'll try and get a landscape shot as well with the light painting in between. So the exposures for tonight for the foreground are exactly the same for any light painting scenario I've done in the past, where it's 400 ISO, f5.6 in 10 seconds. And then I'll light up the stone wall as well as the tree, various angles, maybe take 10-12 shots and then whittle it down when I come to edit the overall image. So just waiting for it to get a wee bit darker now, and then we can crack on. So tonight's shoot, I've got the camera as low as I can. I've got a 20mm upright shot just now because there's a road right behind me. There's a passing van. You may or may not see it in the footage just now. So I'm trying to eliminate catching any passing cars or vehicles with any light trails. So the idea is I've got the camera pretty much flat on the grass, looking up to the tree and the sky above. So hopefully that'll eliminate any light trails. I'll do a landscape and an upright shot, and then I'll swap over to 35mm and do exactly the same again. Well, that's all the foreground exposures taken. It's absolutely freezing, so I'm going to head back to the car, get another coffee, wee tea cake or some kind of biscuit, and then I'll wait for the moon to set, and then later on in the wee small hours of the morning the Milky Way will rise, and then we can get the background shots done as well and get them all blended together. But whew, let's get back to the car. So tonight, you'll see behind me, now let me guess who's put it, Caverlock Castle, I believe, Caverlock Castle. You can correct me in the comments below if I've pronounced that wrong, but I think is it Caerlaverock, I think that's what it is. So welcome back guys, I've got one more chance at shooting some astrophotography before we lose astro darkness here in Scotland. So tonight, you'll see in the background behind me is Caerlaverock Castle, just south of Dumfries in southwest Scotland. So I'm going to try tonight and shoot some Milky Way core shots above the castle. So the idea is to shoot some 20mm and 35mm shots, some light painting thrown in, and we'll see how we get on. So I'm going to have to wait. Well, I've still got about another 2 hours actually before the core rises right behind the castle tonight. So currently there's about a 3% moon out, so the sky isn't quite as dark as I would like it to be, but it will get darker in a couple of hours time. So about 1:30 I think the core's visible. So it's 11 o'clock now, so I'm just going to get set up, do a couple of test shots, get my angles all sorted, and then I'll report back later on in the evening once the moon has started to set. Even at 3% it's still quite bright, so we'll see how we get on. Okay, cheers. Okay, so that's me finished the shots with the castle. I ended up just shooting purely with my 20mm landscape and upright shots. So I've got a wee selection that I'll put together, put on the screen shortly. I've got a video light over there to give you an idea what the background should look like once it's all lit up. So I've done all my light painting frames and various compositions. As I say, landscape upright. It's 1:45, so I want to get set up with the tracker and then shoot the Milky Way core and then head home because I've got work in the morning. So I better crack on. And it's about a 2-hour drive for here back home. So if I finish here at 2:30, yes, 4:30 in the morning I'll get home. So a bit bleary-eyed tomorrow, but never mind, it's Friday, so we'll worry about that later on. Cheers. So there's the moon I was talking about in the middle right hand side of the frame. Just shooting a wee tight shot of the moon just now, and then I'll maybe drop a couple of stills and then I'll set the tracker up. So moon's about completely out the shot. It'll be still visible just above the horizon and no more, about 1 or 2 degrees above the horizon as I start the tracking shots for the Milky Way. But I'm going to put the tracker on here, change the head, etc. and fire out over there, and then we should get started. So I've got about 30 minutes to do some 35mm and 20mm upright and landscape shots. I'll do the 20mm first and then see. Just look at the Milky Way there, looks pretty cool, but it's hazy on the horizon, so I don't know how well I'll pick it out tonight, so I might just do 20mm and see and stack all the shots together. So I'll give it a go, but I'll crack on now because time's getting on. I need to start shooting, so I'll get set up anyway. Cheers. Right, so just setting up my MSN tracker just now, and I need to point it at the North Star. So North Star, I can see the plough and the North Star's there. So once I set the tracker up, and it's better to align when you have your head torch off so you can see the sky better. So what I use a lot of the time is a stellarum, just you can track the sky, and then once you kind of find out, if you can't see the clouds with a 20mm, you don't have to be exact, but you can see Ursa Major and then you can see Polaris. So as long as you can see Polaris, you can roughly line. I'll just put the torch on briefly to see where I'm going. So you can just kind of generally line up, and so it's there. So all I need now is just to turn the laser pen to line up the Polaris. There we go, boom. And what you need to do as well is level your tripod before you do it. So at that point, everything is lined up, it's level here, particularly if you're doing a panning shot, but just in order to have a tracking shot. So once you've lined it up there, I can then switch my tracker on. There we go. That's it on, and don't need the laser pen. So currently that will now, I put the head torch off, that will now track the Earth's rotation. You can either set it for northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere. So that will now track the sky, and then I can put the camera on top of here and realign and point any direction I need to. So for myself, I'm going to be pointing southeasterly direction, not direction, to shoot the Milky Way. So I'm going to get set up now, do a couple of test exposures, see if I can shoot 60 seconds, maybe even 120 seconds, because it's nice and calm tonight. So we'll give that a go. I won't get the 20mm now. Right, let's see. I've got it at a minute, 800 ISO f2.8. So by lowering the ISO, less noise in the image, and also it allows me to shoot a 1 minute exposure without the stars trailing, and at the same time just get more detail in the sky. So fingers crossed it will stay clear. And apparently it's an hour and a half here, not 2 hours, so that's good news. Get home that wee bit earlier, depending on what time I wrap up here, enough. So it's pretty much saying farewell to the Milky Way galactic core here in Scotland. Unfortunately, we just got glimpses in April, and come May, astronomical darkness is no more. So it won't be properly dark again till mid or even the latter part of August. So it's almost like a wee farewell shoot tonight. And then fingers crossed we'll get to see the core again in August and September before it disappears from our view at this latitude. But fingers crossed for everyone out there that you get a good summer shooting the Milky Way. Cheers, guys. Part of this vlog. So where I am just now, where you see me walking up to, that's where I'm hoping to have. So what I'm trying to say here, in the blustery conditions and no microphone, is I've walked up this hill to where I want my subject for this evening's moon silhouette shoot to stand. My shooting location is in the field beyond the row of trees and in the far right corner of that field. Right, so here I am, back down the hill at my shooting position for the moon shoot. As the crow flies, the distance between my camera and subject is important, as the moon will remain the same size in camera if I took the shots 10 metres away or 200 metres away from my subject. For example, if I stood just 10 metres away using a long lens, the subject would be far too big in frame. However, going 200 metres further back from my subject means they naturally become smaller. The moon remains the same size, as it's about 250,000 kilometres away. So by me going back 10 metres or 300 metres has no difference in the size of the moon while taking the photos. Now it's time to go back home, get some dinner, and then I'll gather my kit and return tonight. Right, so here we are. That's me had my tea. Back out, set up here already. So got the lens behind me here. You can just maybe see, let's see, there's a wee glow in the hill now. So that's the moon rose about 15-20 minutes ago. So I'm now just kind of waiting for it to appear over the near horizon, which is the hillside I'm shooting at. So shouldn't be too long, and then we can start the shoot. So see how it goes. Right, getting nearer now. I'd say it's just about 5 minutes away for starting the shoot. Always turn up these things too early. At least it's a mild night. And hopefully they're okay up there. So, all set up. Camera's in position. Sun's set. Moon's risen. And we're ready to go. I should just be about to see the very top of the moon pretty soon actually. I'd say a minute, 2 minutes.